Hello, my name is Rachel Gelowitz, and this is my ECS 203 final, being my curriculum journey. In this, I will be covering three main topics, being my evolution through curriculum and pedagogy, my approach, and my uncomfortable growth and future. Beginning with evolution, I will be covering three topics, being curriculum, pedagogy, and structure. Beginning with curriculum, before I was in this class, I used to believe that teachers would only teach courses in the way the school board told them to. The classes were pre-structured and would cycle depending on the year, with teachers having minimal involvement in the development of the curriculum. But after this class, I now know that teachers are the leads in developing courses and connecting the course content to the curriculum. The school board provides the curriculum and the outcomes that need to be reached, yet the teacher is the one who determines how this content is delivered. Next, with pedagogy, before this class, I never knew what pedagogy was and only thought that school was structured the same for everyone. If I were told the definition of pedagogy, I would have thought it was closer to classroom management. Along with this, I used to believe that pedagogy was more of the physical layout of the classroom, aka where all the desks were set up. But after this course, I now know that teachers are the ones who format the learning in ways that help the students embody the content. Pedagogy is extremely theory-based, with a lot in common with psychology concepts such as cognitivism, behaviorism, and constructivism. Next, with structure, before I believed that a classroom structure was based off the maturity level and on the grade level of the students. The way the classroom would operate was based off the teacher's own way of interpreting information. But now, after the class, I now know that a classroom structure is based off the students' needs at the time. Teachers can adapt with the group to base its setup and lessons on the way the group can comprehend topics, and the teacher is the one who determines the care each student gets individually. Now moving on to my approach, with open opinion learning, treaty education, and positive action. When I am a teacher, I would make it so the class is set up for students to come up with their own opinions on subjects and encourages them to have free discussions with those of different viewpoints. The course would take inspiration from Banks's multiculturalism and incorporate multiple perspectives wherever it can be accessible. Questions will be formatted in a way that allows for students to critically analyze a situation, yet, as teaching isn't neutral, having a rubric that grades students on more objective means. Next, with treaty education, Banks's multicultural approach will be the first mover of all of my lessons. It will be a theory I keep close to me, as it will allow my students to get a fully rounded view of subjects and events that have or are happening in the world. The role I have in Truth and Reconciliation is vital to help the next generation know of Canada's past, along with what we can do to make the future better for all under the treaties. Using resources from Indigenous communities and teaching the students about the traditional ways of being on this land is the most important subject area, as when you don't fully understand something, you fear or deny it. With reaching level 4 of Banks's approach, students can combat this fear with a fully rounded knowledge behind our country's history. With positive action, I will keep Kumashiro's readings close to my heart. Remember why the idea of the good student is around and continue to analyze and reflect on the stereotyping based off of it. I'd use it as a way to ground myself for when I start having difficulties with a student and allow it to lead me to more positive action when I suspect a student of struggling. I would try to help find my students' gifts and give them support to embrace their passions in the class. As well, I would lead by example in pushing myself to stay true to my actions and dedicate time to ensure students don't feel excluded or unheard. Teaching broadly and giving space for students who need additional help in the course, along with using classroom management to help those who struggle to communicate with, will be only a few of the ways I can begin improving my students' school lives. Finally, with my uncomfortable growth and future, with my Catholicism, pronouns, and being an ally. As a practicing Catholic, many topics that we have discussed in the class brought forth uncomfortable emotions within myself. These emotions are prompted due to the actions of those who practice the same faith as me and the way that different people perceive my religion. These emotions make me want to defend and hide my beliefs. This is where I personally have to grow, as there's no way to explain or push aside those actions that hurt people. In this, I have to decide who I want to be for myself and for the students I will influence in the future. Having a space where anyone is accepted for who they are and not for the stereotypes that are conditioned onto us due to our identity, religion, or ethnicity. Next, with pronouns, there is much I need to learn about queerness and identity. The way I and many others have been brought up leaves points where we misunderstand the true intent behind our uncomfortability behind things like pronouns. Along with that is fear of disrespecting those of the community, as I and many others want to support people in these environments, but never know where to begin. Fear messes up our inherent goodness, as we fear the idea of being portrayed as a villain towards a group. In the future, I hope myself, as well as others who struggle with this, find a way to slowly break down these walls we have put up and not be held back by fear. Along with this, I strive to make an environment where the sharing of pronouns is the norm so that no one is made to feel alone in said environment. And finally, being an ally. Not clinging to the idea of being an ally and using it as a defense, not being afraid of making a safe space and defending my students when they need it. All of this is to say, I need to break through the idea of me clinging to the title of being an ally, but instead putting it into action. Instead of waiting for a time where I can help, actively push myself to make sure those situations go smoothly. Make the space that is safe for all, not just stating it. Sticking to doing what's right for everyone, not just what's right for me in the moment. Becoming selfless so that no student feels the way the students from They Matter felt. Changing my language to be more gender inclusive, self-assessing my inherent behaviors to diverse students, and actively push my peers to do the same. With all that being said, that is my final for my ECS 203 and my journey through the curriculum in this course.